Hey everyone, welcome to H&K Luxury Travel and welcome back to our videos. I decided to do a video for this next segment in my Cruising 101 series that we've been doing. Cruising 101, if you go back to our blog, you'll see we've touched on part one, part two, and part three. And all of those address how to get things started in the way of planning, choosing the right cruise line, and we discussed the cruise lines, choosing the destination, choosing the time of year, and how all that plays into budget and everything else for us as travel professionals to help you move forward in the cruising planning process. And this next segment is going to address the biggest aspect, I think, or the biggest confusion area of selecting a cruise, which is why I'm doing it on video instead of trying to write this out on the blog, which is cruise stateroom selection. The cruises have not edified. In fact, they've confused more than anything when it comes to all of the various stateroom categories that they offer. These larger cruise ships like the Allure of the Seas with Royal Caribbean, Epic with Norwegian Cruise Line, all these gigantic mega ships have come out with so many different variety of staterooms where it used to be really simple. You had basically four main categories. Inside, a stateroom without any windows on the inside of the ship, no ambient light. Outside, which is basically a stateroom with a porthole or some kind of either round or square window. Balcony, which is a stateroom now with outside terrace or an outside veranda that allows you to go outside and feel the air that's attached to your stateroom. Or suites, and even within the suite category, there's a variety of types of suites now on cruise ships. Now with the larger ships like the Oasis class with Royal Caribbean, they have boardwalk view, Central Park view, excuse me, and those have even created more categories of staterooms on ships. But for the sake of this video, we're going to address the four main categories again. Actually, we're going to really address the three main, because for a lot of clientele, the suite categories are well outside of their budget range. And so if we're talking to the mainstream cruiser, especially the mainstream first-time cruiser, you need to understand the differences between the top three, which is inside, outside, and balcony. As we just described what inside, outside, and balcony means, you need to understand within those three main categories, now there's subcategories. And the biggest thing you need to understand about a subcategory, because there could be an inside category that's category L, and then it may be an inside category M, and then N, and so on. And those are all inside staterooms, but the biggest difference between those subcategories, even though they're all on the inside of the ship without a window, is some may be on a low deck, some may be on a higher deck, could be closer, which can get you closer to food venues, entertainment, definitely the pool, things like that. Could be the front of the ship, could be the back of the ship. And for some that are cruising for the first time, being near the front of the ship or the back of the ship, if you think about geometry, going back to school, if you were to hold a pencil or something on your finger and the ship is moving up and down towards the middle of the ship, which is why everybody wants to be midship for the most part, you're going to feel less motion as you're out to sea. Versus if you're in the front of the ship and the ship is going up and down, you're going to be feeling a larger amount of the motion of the sea. So some people prefer not to be near the front of the ship or the back of the ship. The back of the ship, another negative, is when the ship is maneuvering in ports early in the morning as you're still asleep, those engines and those the thrusters that they use, you can actually feel the vibration depending on which deck you're on, especially of the engines. And in the front, if you happen to be sailing to destinations where they don't dock and they tender, a lot of times they will drop anchor in some cases, and dropping anchor can be felt if you're in the front of the ship. So those subcategories are basically taking the category itself, whether inside, outside, or balcony, and those subcategories are placing you in the variety of areas on the ship within those main categories. Again, front, back, low, high. Now you may say, again, what's the difference between, do I really care in the price difference, or do I want to upgrade to a different category from inside to outside and outside to balcony? You're going to hear a lot of opinions online. A lot of bloggers, a lot of writers will say, don't ever worry about doing a balcony because it's a waste of money. Or they'll say, don't worry about, even some will most say that they think balconies are overrated. And don't listen to anybody's opinion, because stateroom selection is really very, very individual based on who you are. If you're somebody that needs to see, especially if you're worried about seasickness, an inside stateroom can be a bad thing. If you're somebody who likes to sit outside and have privacy, but you don't want to have to worry about going to all the public spaces of the ship, then an outside stateroom with a veranda or a balcony might be critical to you to have a great vacation. I'm one that likes to sit and drink coffee on my balcony and watch the sea go by, especially on sea days. It's very peaceful to me. So I love balcony staterooms. In fact, almost every cruise I will go on, I will put myself in a balcony stateroom, because once you experience what a balcony does to you, especially for fresh air, it's hard to go back. If you're somebody who doesn't care about all that, but you also don't want to be in a stateroom without ambient light, then an outside stateroom with a window may be the choice for you. But I'll tell you one little asterisk on those. Be very careful about location. Again, here's where subcategories come into play. An outside stateroom that may be on a lower deck, we call them, in the industry, we've called them for a long time, the duck staterooms, because as you're going at sea, a lot of times you're seeing the water level go by your stateroom because of the way the water is actually coming up from the wake of the ship. One that can be disconcerting if you walk in your stateroom and you see water passing you what looks like at about 100 miles an hour, even though you're not even close to that. It can mess with your equilibrium. Number two is your view is really just the water line. That's why we call it the duck staterooms, because a lot of times all you're going to see go by that window is ducks paddling by, so to speak. So if you're somebody who wants a view, if you want to be in your stateroom and actually see the port you're coming into, a balcony stateroom might be the perfect one for you. But again, if none of that matters and you're on a tight budget, then an inside stateroom, if you're okay with motion, with not worrying about getting motion sickness and things like that, then an inside stateroom may be just fine for you. Understand, again, all those staterooms have size differences. Then insides will be your smallest size stateroom. And outside may be a little bit bigger, but not much more than inside, but it does give you the feeling of more space because of the ambient light coming in with the window. And then the balcony stateroom is definitely bigger, and tack on the extra square footage of your balcony itself, and it's substantially bigger than an inside or an outside. So again, without getting into suite categories, because again, there's so many variations of suite categories: junior suite, grand suite, owner's suite, etc. And all these ships nowadays, that would be a whole segment in itself just to talk about suite categories. But for the first-time cruiser, those that are wondering what cruising is all about and how to make sure they're picking the right cruise and they're going to have a great cruise experience, just understand there are your main stateroom categories, and it's our job to listen to you, listen to what you like, how you like to vacation, and then determine and to help you with your budget, see which stateroom is going to be best, or which stateroom category and which stateroom location on the ship is going to be best for you. So there's the fourth installment. Even though the other three were written, this is going to go on the blog. And if you haven't read the blog link will be on this video, and you can go back and get caught up to where we are with now stateroom selection. Next video is going to be a big one, because we're finally going to talk about the actual cost of a cruise. And I think, again, the internet has not done anything but confuse when it comes to the actual cost of cruising. Especially cruise lines like to tease you a little bit on pricing, and they get you really excited, and then you find out from start to finish that the price went from X to Z, and you had no idea it was going to be Z, but the real cost of the cruise actually was tallied up at the end. So I'm going to help you understand that, and we're going to help you understand that here in H&K. It's what our job is. So I hope this was helpful. Again, if you liked the video, give us a like. If you want to follow us on social media, the links will be on the video. We love to have you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, etc. And follow along with our journeys, our personal journeys, upcoming cruises. That's Royal Caribbean's thing in the back. That's actually for Symphony of the Seas. And I have on my Royal Caribbean jacket because I'm about to embark on a Royal Caribbean cruise here in the next few days. So pay attention to our blog, because I'm sure I'll have a review or two or three about my experiences on that cruise. Not just the cruise portion, but also the land portion that we're doing. So, hope this helps. If you've got any questions, please leave your remarks on the video, and we'll be glad to get back to you as soon as we possibly can. Thanks for watching.